I welcome you to the Canto 25 of Nandini Sahu's long narrative poem, Sita, a Poem. The concept of Sita as an eco-feminist in the Ramayana is a modern interpretation that draws parallels between her character and certain eco-feminist details. Ecofeminism is a social environmental movement that explores the interconnectedness between women and nature. While the Ramayana is an ancient text, the contemporary scholars and ecofeminists have examined it through an ecofeminist lens to identify elements that align with ecofeminist principles. For example, Sita's connection with nature, her respect for the planet Earth, Sita's resilience and independence, her ecological ethics, and Sita's love for liberation and complete freedom, then her protection of nature, and then Sita's coming from the planet Earth and going back to the planet Earth in a climatic moment. All these characteristics, all these attributes connect Sita with ecology, with environment. In fact, in the preface to this collection, Sita, a Poem, I have written that Sita is the original ecofeminist. Throughout the Uttarakhand, Sita's character is portrayed as an epitome of virtue, strength, and devotion. She endures tremendous hardships. She remains true to her principles. She serves as a symbol of ideal womanhood and motherhood. Despite the challenges Sita faces, her character remains central to the moral and emotional core of the Ramayana. In this canto 25, I not just attempt a radical displacement of the focus of the long poem from patriarchal, chauvinistic social ethos, but catapult the text on a universal eco-feminist plane by proclaiming through it the Sita-ness of every woman, in fact, every man. Uh, Dr. Sudeep Mukherjee, the literary critic, claims that the modus operandi in this text is both rhetorical and sociological. I simultaneously divinize and humanize Sita with what is called a quixotic presentiment, as I'm quoting from the preface of the text. And I assimilate the various receptions of the character, ranging from the marginalized, the sacred, the self effacing to the profane, the self willed, as also the beautiful woman Sita, armed with knowledge and power. At once, Sita transcends all time and space bounds. One recognizes the all too relevant efforts at gender sensitization and the valid probe of the patriarchal politics of deification in this text, which in turn bring up the purity pollution debates, all of which remain ever relevant in the Indian context. In this sense, the text is untarnished by any superimposed feminist agenda. In the long span of 25 cantos, this poem rather problematizes issues of identity and personal public peripheries within the framework of feudal polity on a temporal frame, and thereby within the larger social canvas on a universal plane. In fact, all of it is cumulatively universalized by an almost new historicist perspective, wherein I try to bind history as myth and textuality in perfect reciprocity, syncing the voiced concerns with all times. By harking back and forth in time, I try to transcend any temporal barriers to the metaphor of Ram Rajya and question subordinity inherent in stereotyping of gender in a way that has always been a nagging thorn at the heart of the evolution of the nation and its civil society. In course of this, I not only create the character of Sita as inheriting the collective consciousness of all the progressive independent women, I also venture to explore female bonding with my own Sita as a very powerful force. In the preface, I also mention that the subject has been seminal to Thought's across my literary career. So, this means the long poem, in a way, marks the culmination of my poetic flair while transcending the ever fleeting boundaries of the personal and the artistic. My portrayal of Sita comes to my readers through a and before I recite the Canto 25 from this long poem, Sita, a poem by Nandini Sahu, I would like to inform here that this is the last and the final canto of the long poem, where Sita offers solidarity and sisterhood to all the genders. She requests women not to feel guilty about the mistakes that they have not committed. She offers friendship, solidarity, optimism to everyone in the society. Well, let me recite the Canto 25. I am away from Ram since ages, but my eternal monologue continues. I have been taking births and rebirths, my thirst unquenched, my heart passion drenched. I distribute myself into autumns in my rebirths, in the Sita-ness of every woman. Sita eternally breathes. I am reborn as Mother Teresa, Florence Nightingale, Lucy Gray, Helen of Troy, Cleopatra, Atlanta, Cordelia, Desdemona, Penelope, Sylvia Plath, Athena, Kunti, Draupadi, Gandhari, Shakuntala, Radha, Mirabai, Kalpana Chawla, Kiran Bedi, Indira, Nirbhaya, Damini, Lata, Nandini, Revati, or Anandi. I have numerous lives in women, bold and beautiful. In the Ramayana, my incandescent strength did resolute my character and self respect. That was my aura, not to acknowledge opposing infringements. Trijala was another form of Sita in my incarceration, in our fellow feeling and feminine bonding. I was the spark in Mandodari who questioned her husband Ravan poignantly even on his deathbed. I was Urmila in her patient waiting, her merciful self control. I was in Draupadi who wandered with her 5 husbands in the forest for 12 years and got disrobed in the Kurusava in their silent protest. I got burned with my humiliation in her sinuous open hair, and I lived in her platonic love for her Sakha, Lord Krishna. I lived in Nirbhaya, gang raped in a moving Delhi bus. I struggled, I survived, I perished, enkindling the fire of truth amongst mankind. I have heard Ravan was a great scholar, a yogic personality who voiced Shivatandava Stotra. Then how could he desire another's wife? I was never the subdued woman as painted in Tulsidasa's Ramcharitmanas. I was eternally pure, eternally chaste. Sufi poet Mullah Mashiha has likened me to the soul, like soul that is eternally covered by the body. Sita is infinitely covered by clothes, never disrobed. My wholesomeness is talked of in Madhav Kandali's Satakand Ramayana. Hanuman reached Ravan's Madhusala and found him asleep in the midst of beautiful women. To look for me, Hanuman became a honey bee and smelt the mouth of each woman, as if it was impossible to drink wine for the pure woman Sita. I was vocal and intrepid before the fire ordeal, and when I withdrew from Mother Earth, thus I am glorified in classical literature, epitomized in folklore. Why did you try to receive me back as your queen, O Ram, after you met Love Kush? Had another washerman at some other point of life questioned my integrity, you would have designed a third fire ordeal for me. How often a woman is married since then to a man who is acutely apprehensive of her character? How often the wife doesn't question him, rather spends ages defending herself and assuring of her single minded love for her husband for the sake of her children? Isn't it time for women to stop ruminating and pleading and ascend single motherhood like Sita, if required? Someone accused me, Johar, Sati, and bride burning emanate from the willful fire test. I beg to differ here. Johar, Sati, bride burning are vehemently, malignantly done to women, no doubt. But I accepted the first fire.